Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is Father Bob Gross, and it is 5:15, and this is my third take in doing this video, so I better get it right. So, I want to share my homily from this last weekend, and here we go. So, one of my favorite authors in the United States is David Brooks. He works for the New York Times. Don't hold it against him. He's a columnist, more conservative columnist. He's a Jewish man, and his writing has kind of changed in the fact that he'll cover politics and political implications, political events, but he's becoming more and more interested in what makes up our politics. And there are two things that he has found, which I agree that are true. Our politics is made up of our relationships with one another and the character that we bring to the table. If we don't have proper relationships and the willingness to give and take, to respect and honor, to dialogue and to disagree agreeably, and we don't bring a moral character to the table, politics quickly descends into chaos. I think that's kind of what we're seeing. And he wrote a book a couple years ago called The Road to Character. The Road to Character is a book that talks about how do we grow in virtue. And he frames the book in this question, that there are two questions or two sets of values that we have to pursue in life. And the first is our resume values. Those values that will help us to make a success in life. So the job that you want to get, the program you want to get into, the college you want to attend, the job that you want to get, all those interviewing skills that you have to have, the things that you put on your resume to get the attention of employers and colleges and programs are things that help us towards a certain form of success. There's another set of values, though, and those are the values that we write in the obituary when we die. When we die, our family will gather around us and they will write a description of who we are with our life. How do we want to be described? Those values are different than our resume values. Honesty, kindness, loving, family person, relationships, being a good person. Those are the things we see in obituaries. In resumes, we see hardworking, networking, honest, on time, industrious, competent. Those things that drive us. They're two different sets of values, and the more that we bring them together, the more they mutually benefit both of that. I bring that up because today's reading, the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, is the hymn to love that we've heard many times at a wedding. Love is patient, love is kind, it is not jealous, it is not pompous, it does not brood over injury, it does not rejoice in wrongdoing, it rejoices in the truth. I bring that up because when you look at a tombstone, do you put on your resume values or do you put on your obituary values on your tombstone? And the fact is we put our obituary values on our tombstone. And ultimately, those are the most important things to be. It's more important to be a good father than to be a successful businessman. It is more important to be a loving mother than it is to be held in great status throughout our lives. It is more important to be a loyal son or daughter than to be the most popular person in school. It is more important to be a faithful Christian than it is to be a millionaire in life. Now, you might say that, but there's a lot of pressure on a lot of people that if we are truly honest with ourselves, those resume values really drive us each day. But ultimately, who do we want to become? Who do we want to become is a more important question than what we want to do with our life. Who we become. So that's why the church talks a lot about vocation. That's why we talk a lot about being human beings instead of human doers. And how our culture has it upside down so much. We are human doers, playing catching up with the Joneses, to the point that we forget who we are. Children of God, sons and daughters of God. And that's why I think St. Paul beautifully describes what love is. Love is the driving force in the world. Not greed, not honor, not power, not wealth. Even though on the surface that's what it looks like. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Got to get ahead in life. You're not going to get it for you, you have to get it for yourself. All these catchphrases that we have. But St. Paul reminds us of the great purpose and the dignity of who we are. We are loved, and we must love. And we cannot love without receiving unconditional love from God. That's why St. Paul speaks about it as the most excellent of gifts. A gift is something to be received. And if we don't receive love, we will not know how to give love. That's why you see fundamentally all the problems in our life is people are not unconditionally loved and willed to be better people. That's why there's addiction. That's why there's so much pornography. That's why there's so much divorce. That's why there's so much brokenness in our lives. It's because we are not authentically and unconditionally loved. That's what God offers to us each day, but we don't take him up on it. So here's the question. What do you want written on your tombstone? What do you want written about you in your obituary? What do you truly want to be known for? Don't you want God to know you, to be one of his faithful and loving servants? So that's why when you look at love and the description of love, it's all actions. Love is patient, love is kind, it is not jealous, it is not pompous, it is not arrogant, it is forgiving, it rejoices in the truth. All of those have no sentimental power behind it. They're all actions of love. So if you want to get out of depression, out of mental illness, out of melancholy, out of struggle, it's to go back to those deeds of love. Because the deed of love will affect the way you feel, which will affect what you think about. If you only think about yourself and your problems and your concerns and your sadnesses and your disappointments, it's going to affect your feelings. And then you're going to do selfish actions, which puts you in another spiral down. So that's why I think St. Paul gives us this wisdom. Love is living like God and acting like God. So here's the thing. Maybe Nike has it right. Just do it. Just do the deeds of love and stop thinking about them. You know, since you were a little kid, if you were formed in the faith, whether you went to Catholic school or CCD, whether you were really faithful or really not, you know down deep because God has given you love unconditionally in baptism that you know that it's the right thing to do. It will lead to happiness. It's the doubt that this world puts in our minds and in our hearts is when we start mixing things instead of purifying and distilling what truly the pure gospel is, which is the love of Jesus Christ in this world, in a world that is so isolated, lonely, and sad that only Jesus' love can save and bring healing. So just do it. Just love. And it'll take you out of a lot of problems in life, or it will give perspective to the problems and the sufferings that we have in life. Just do it. Just love. Choose to love every day, no matter what. And that's what's going to bring peace in your life, because you have been loved first. We haven't loved God first. God first loved us. So as you think about this weekend, as you think about this week, what do you want written in your obituary? How do you want to be remembered? Because that's going to determine whether you'll be with God for all eternity. Let us choose love, always, for we belong to the God of love. And may God bless you.